Okay, I'm back. Um, and let's do it. So this is the paper. This is summer 2023. It was the regional paper, and it was paper one, so 1HR. Um, and there we go, Mr. Asprey. Okay, so um, good luck. Hopefully, do it in 35 minutes. Let's go. Product of prime factors. Okay. So let's go 2, 2, 5, and 10, which is 2 and 5. I know this is 15 squared, which is 5 and 3, 5 and 3. So we have 2 times 3 squared times 5 to the 3. Write down the numbers that are in set A. Fine, that's 7, 11, 13, and 5. The union of B and C, so that's 5, 15, 10, 6, 8, 12, and 24. Doesn't say in any particular order, so that's fine. He writes down that 9 is not in C. Explain why dominant is correct. Because 9 is not in C. I mean, because 9 is not an element of C. It is outside the circle of C. That seems quite obvious, but whatever. Okay. Okay. Similar shapes. GH is this one. And the scale factor is 9.6 divided by 6, which isn't obvious. Okay, 8 over 5, fine, which is what, 1.6. Okay, 1.6, you've got to divide 4 by 1.6 to get that one. So we'll do 4 divided by 1.6, we get 5 over 2, which is 2.5. BC is the one up here, so to get there we times across by the scale factor, so we do 5.7 times by 1.6. Okay, we get 9.12. That seems wrong, but no, I guess it's not. No, that's fine. Okay. The diagram shows a shape made up of 3 semicircles and a triangle. Okay, work out the perimeter of the shape. Okay, so this arc is going to be exactly the same as that arc, and together they're going to make a whole circle, which is 2 pi r. And then we've also got this one, but first we need to find this side here, which will be the square root of 6 squared plus 6 squared, which is the square root of 72, which is also equal to 6 root 2. So half of it, the radius, will be 3 root 2. Okay, so let's work out this bit here. So that was 2 pi r, so that's 2 times pi, and the radius would be 3. So that's 6 pi is the blue bit. And then this green part is going to be 2 pi r, but it's half of the circumference. So it's just pi times by r, and we've said the r is 3 root 2. So the whole thing should be 6 pi plus pi times 3 root 2. So we get to one decimal place an answer of 32.2. Okay, great. Each time Evie plays a game against a computer, she will win or lose. For each game, the probability that Evie will win is that. She's going to play 300 games. Work out how many she will lose. Okay, so the probability of her losing is 1 minus the probability of her winning, so that's 0.26. Times it by 300 is the number of attempts she takes, so 78. Okay, so that's m to the 7. You subtract the powers. Here you add the powers, so n must be 8 because 8 plus 4 is 12. 3 squared is 9, x to the 6 squared is x to the 12, and y to the 8 squared is y to the 16. Expanding this out, 4x squared minus 20x. Factorising this, y minus 4, y minus 5. Write that as an ordinary number. Well, when it's negative power, it's negative 3. It's just 3 zeros, so it's 0.0056. Work this out. Give your answer in standard form. Do I have to put in my calculator? Gosh, I'm not sure what to do here. Right, the top is 6,000 over 2.1 times 10 to the minus 4 plus 9 times 10 to the minus 5. Okay, so how many zeros is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 2 times 10 to the 7. Ooh, not comfortable with that. I think that's right though. This guy buys a car for 700,000 taka. The value of the car depreciates by this, so that's 0.88 is the multiplier. Work out at the end of 3 years. Okay, fine. I'm just going to do this all on my calculator. 1000 times 0.88 to the power of 3 years. Perfect. So we get 47703.4. So that's the nearest taka. That's it. Job done. Okay, we've got this. It needs to be, oh gosh, another enlargement question. Scale center 1, 7 is here. It's a scale factor of a third. So if I draw a line to that part there, then a third of that line would be here. If I draw a line to here, a third of that line will be here. And then finally, if I draw a line right to over here, a third of that line would be here. So I'm just going to join these up, and this is going to be my shape. And then do I have to label it? No, it doesn't say I do, so that's job done. Okay, next we've got this cuboid, and we've got density, mass, so let's just quickly draw the triangle. Mass on top, D and V. Work out W, where W is the length. So we need to find the volume. So to find the volume, we have to do the mass, which is this, divided by the density, which is this. Just double check the units to make sure they're the same. I think they are, so that's good. So that's 250 is the volume. And we know the volume, of course, is equal to all 5 dimensions, all 3 dimensions multiplied together in a cuboid. So we get this. So W is equal to, don't want to risk it, what is it, 12.5? Yeah, 12.5. Okay, fine, let's change colour, that's horrible colour. Okay. We've got here probability, and it says show that x plus y is equal to that. Well, we know that. Interesting. You don't normally get show that questions on GCSE papers. It's more of an A-level thing. I guess you get it with the fraction questions, don't you? So that's x plus y plus. So we need to add these things up. So it's 0.15. And we know this because in a probability tree, of course, they always add up to 1 in a probability table, sorry. So that's 81, so 0.81 is equal to 1, so therefore when I subtract from both sides, I get 0.19. Perfect. It says given that this is equal to that, and that is equal to that, fine. Work out, okay, so you just add the two together, add the two equations, to get this, which means that x is equal to James Bond 007, nice. And therefore y must add to that to make 0.19, so it must be 0.12. Quick little simultaneous. Novak The tennis great. I love it when they put a little Easter egg in the questions like that. Okay, probability tree diagram. So that's 0.1 because 0.9 wins he wins, and this must be 0.6 because 0.4 he wins there. Work out the probability that Novak wins both games of tennis. Okay, so that's 0.7 times 0.9, which is 0.63. Yes, okay. That's it, fine. Right, cumulative frequency. So 15 plus 16 is 31, add on 21 is 52, add on 14 is 66, add on 8 is 74, and add on 6 is 80, which is good. Okay, oh no, this is going to really slow me down. Okay, so we're going to plot at 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. 15, 31, 52. 15, 31, 52. 66, 74, 80. 66, 74, and 80. Now, I'm started to, rather than use curves, I'm just going to connect them up with straight lines. I think it's my new way of doing it. I think it's just a bit more accurate, and you are allowed to do it. And I think you're more likely to get the same answer as the examiner. And then you go back to 0 as well, because no one got less than 50. Fine. Use your graph to find the median and use your graph to find the interquartile range. Okay, so I can't do two questions at once here. So the interquartile range, well, a quarter of 80 is 20. The median, you're going to need the halfway point, so half of 80 is 40. And for the upper quartile, you need the 3/4 point, so 3/4 of 80 is 60. Have to draw these lines on. Perfect. So the median is this one here, which is 74, and the lower quartile is 63, and the upper quartile is 86. So 86 minus 63 is 23. Of course it is. We've got a hexagon. Calculate the calculate the value of n. I can't find, where's n? Oh, what? B, C, D, E is a hexagon. A, B, C, D are three sides of a regular polygon. Oh, I see, right, so this is a side, that is a side, and that is a side of a regular polygon. Fine, okay. So we need to find this angle here. This is what it's asking. That's what we need to find first, don't we? So a hexagon is 720 angles because a pentagon is 540 and then a hexagon is 720. So let's take away 90. Let's take away 95. Let's take away 149. Let's take away 104. 57. And that's all that's left. Okay, so that angle in there is 225. Perfect. Okay, right. So that means that angle there is 360 minus 225, 135. Okay, great. So if the interior is equal to 135, it means the exterior is equal to 180 minus 135, which is 45. And the number of sides is always 360 divided by the exterior. So that's 8. So it's an octagon. Bosh. Okay, right. So x is equal to 0.1767676 times through by 10. I've literally just done a video on these types of questions. And we get this. So we get no repeat of the decimals. Times by 100, and we get 17.67676676, and then finally times by 1,000, and we get 176.76676767. Like I did on the video, these ones are the same, so those are the ones that we're going to subtract. So we take this and this, so that gives us 990. X is equal to this minus this, which is 175. So x is equal to 175 over 990. Type that into our calculator just to double check that simplifies to what they asked for, which it does. Perfect. So that's job done. F is inversely proportional to the square of r, to the square of r. So that inverse proportional is 1 over, like that. So F is equal to k over r squared. We then need to sub in. So F is 36 when r is 4, but then square it to make 16. So k is equal to 36 times 16, which is 576. So the formula is F is equal to 576 over r squared, as it is, as we just sub k in here. Find the value of F when r is 48. Okay, so F is equal to 576 over 48 squared. So 576 over 48 squared gives us a quarter. Perfect. Diego builds a fence using fence panels. Good idea. The total length of the fence is 50 meters, correct to the nearest 5. The length of each fence panel is 1.3 meters, correct to the nearest 10 centimeters. The cost of the fence is this. Diego may only buy complete fence panels. Diego only pays for the number of panels he needs to build the fence. Obviously, work out the greatest distance in the possible amounts that Diego could pay. Fine, right. So the upper bound of how much he could pay would be a big fence with really small panels. Okay. So what's the biggest the fence could be, basically? The length of the fence. So it's 50 meters to the nearest 5. So I go 55 above, 45 below. So the upper bound of the fence is 2.5. And the lower bound of the fence is 7.5. Each fence panel is 130 centimeters, isn't it? To the nearest 10 centimeters. So 140, 120, and then the upper bound, the lower bound, sticking to the same colours, is 125, and the I should use meters though. I don't know why I've changed it to centimeters. That's a bit silly. Let's keep it as meters. A point there and a point there. So the upper bound is 1.35. Oh, this one's really flustered me, this question. The cost of each panel is this. Okay, so the highest price he would pay is if he had to use this amount of fencing and use this amount of small panels. So big fence and a small panel. So that's how many panels he would have to buy if he had a big fence and the panels were small. So he'd have to buy 42. So 42 multiplied by this. We'll work that out in a second. Okay, so the lowest price, the cheapest he could do it, is if he had a small fence and the panels were massive. So that would be 47.5 divided by 1.35. Okay, which gives him 35.18. But in that case, he would have to buy 36, I guess. Oh, this is really slowing me down. Have I made a mistake here? This feels like a mistake. Like, why is that not a whole number? The other one was. I'm just going to have to go with it, I guess. Is he going to be splitting fence panels? Oh, Diego. What are you up to, mate? Okay. I mean, he's not gonna get away with 35, is he? Not possible. So it's gonna have to be 36. Which is this. It says work out the greatest difference in the possible amounts that he could pay. So I have to do the difference between this and this one. So I think the answer is £51.90. I do not feel confident with that. Oh well, it's a speed run after all, so let's get on with it. We'll check at the end to see if it's right. Prue travels directly from A to B and then directly from B to C. Good idea. Yang travels directly from A to C. That's a better idea. Give the values of A, B and EC in kilometres. Work out how much further... Oh, what? Okay, right, so look. The distance from A to B is equal to the square root of the components squared added together. Okay, so that is the square root of 49 plus 4, which is 53. BC will be the square root of 3 squared. It doesn't matter if it's negative because you're squaring it anyway. So 9 plus 25 is 34. Okay, so that's what one person does. The other person goes from A to C. Now to get from A to C, it's the same as adding AB to BC. So the vector A to C will be 4 and 3 when I add these together. So the actual distance AC is the square root of 4 squared plus 3 squared, which is 5. Because it's a Pythagorean triple. Okay, so let's add this and this, because this is the long way round, and you get 13.1. But it says work out how much further Prue travels. So let's take away, because we need to find the difference. So it's 8.1 to 1 decimal place. Okay, so a curve has one maximum point. The points, yeah, write down the coordinates of the maximum point. Okay, it's graph transformation. So 2f of x increases, stretches the y by 2. This subtracts 7 from the y. And this turns the x negative. So minus 3, 5. Because inside the bracket affects the x, outside the bracket affects the y. It says that the graph L is this equation. The curve L is transformed to curve S under this translation. Find an equation for S. Okay, so this translation is 2 to the right, which is f of x minus 2 is the graph transformation. So, if I want to convert this, if this is f of x, this one here, and I want to change it to f of x minus 2, I need to take all the x's and change them into x minus 2's, like so. It says give my answer in that particular form, so I will need to expand out. So I expand out that first bracket and expand out that second, and then we'll need to collect. So we've got x squared, we've got plus 3x, and we have 4 minus 14 is minus 10, plus 20 is 10. Okay. Find dy by dx, no problem. 3x squared minus 4x minus 9. Find the range of values of x for which t has a positive gradient. Okay, so if we need to solve this, this is the gradient, we need it to be greater than 0. So we need to factorize that if we can. Minus 27 and minus 4. I don't know, I don't have time for this. So let's go here, let's go here, let's go here, let's go 3 minus 4. It does say give your answer to 3 significant figures actually, so yes, they are not going to be nice numbers. Okay, fine. Let's just write down the answers here, because we know these are going to be the answers, and then we will have to show our working if we're going to get full marks. So we will do x is equal to minus 4 plus minus the square root of minus 4 squared minus 4 lots of a times by c all over 2 lots of a. So that's the working, and then those are the answers. But because it's a quadratic inequality, we're looking for the bits where it's greater than 0. So it's to the left, so x is to the left of the smaller one, union, which means like or, it's to the right of the bigger one, like so. Quadratic inequalities, check out my video on that if you didn't understand that question. Okay, so histograms, work out an estimate for the percentage of these people who are aged more than 55 years. You don't get anything. Right, fine. So we can just put our own frequency density here. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're not actually working out frequency anyway, we're just working out proportions. So this one is 5 times 1.6. I'm working out the area of each of these bars now. So that's 5 times 1.6, which is 8. This one is 5 times 5, so that's 25. This is 10 times 3.3, so that's 33. This is 10 times by 1.9, so that's 19. And this is 25 times 0.9, which is, okay, so 22.5. Okay, and we want, oh gosh, we want 55 years or more. So let's draw a line in there. Let's find let's just add them all up now to find what the total is. Again, it's not necessarily the frequency, but it's all about proportion, so it's fine. So we're going to be out of this total, but we want an estimate for the people who are aged more, so we need this bit here, which is, that's 4/5 of the whole bar, and that whole bar we said was 22.5, so if I can find 4/5 of that, then we get 18. So it's 18 out of that, the total number of people. Again, but it's not actually the frequency, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so that means that it is, it's a percentage, so it's 16.7%. Okay, how many more questions have we got? I mean, it feels like it's going on forever, this one. Oh gosh. Right, BidMass tells us that we're going to do the division first. That bracket there we can write as a difference of 2 squares, which I think will be helpful, because it's x squared minus 4. When we do division, we can flip over and we can times, and this needs to be factorized. I suspect that one of the factors will be x plus or minus 2. So let's just do 4x and x and try and figure this out, because we know there's going to be a 2 here, and therefore that will be a 1 there. So minus there will give us the minus 8x, and then plus 1 here will give us minus 7x in total. Okay, perfect. So that can cancel with that, and don't forget we've still got to minus 2x afterwards. So multiplying through, that could go on the top now, and on the bottom we've just got this, and then we need to minus 2x, and 2x is the same as 2x times 4x plus 1 divided by 4x plus 1. So now that that's a common factor, we can actually add them. I'm going to expand out the brackets, so that's x squared plus 2x minus 8x squared, and don't forget minus 2x, so the minus needs to be applied to both these two terms, all over 4x plus 1. Okay, so we're going to get minus 7x squared. These are going to cancel actually, so it's just minus 7x squared over 4x plus 1. Okay, fine. Oh, it's more! Oh gosh! Given that, oh gosh, this is tricky as well. Find an expression for x in terms of n. State any restrictions on n. Holy moly. Right, these are all powers of 2. So this is 2 to the n, 2 to the x squared, that's fine. Times 16 is 2 to the 4, and that's 2 to the 3. So 2 to the n is equal to 2 to the x squared times by, that's 2 to the 4x, you can multiply out like that. And then when you're multiplying these n's, these 2's, sorry, you just add the powers. So it's x squared plus 4x plus 3. So we're saying that n is equal to x squared plus 4x plus 3. It says find an expression for x in terms of n. So if we want to make x the subject, we have to use completing the square. So that's x plus 2, because it's half of 4, minus, again, half of 4 squared, plus 3. So n is equal to x plus 2 squared minus 4 plus 3 is minus 1. We now need to make x the subject. So we're going to move that over to this side. We're going to square root. When we do so, we do get plus or minus. And then finally, we're going to minus the 2 over. So it's minus 2 plus or minus the square root of n plus 1 is equal to x. Now, x needs to be greater than 0. Fine, look, here we go. Yeah, x needs to be greater than 0. So this can't be a minus, because otherwise it'll be minus 2 minus the square root, which is always positive. So it can't be a minus. Also, the restriction on n is that n must be greater than minus 1. Or equal to minus 1, I guess. N could be minus 1, which would give, is that fine for n to be minus 1? Yeah, n to be minus 1 is fine. I think that's it. I think that's it. Oh, what? There's 25 questions. You are having a laugh. The area of this triangle is, find the size of the angle in the triangle, the largest size of the angle in the triangle. And you know what the area is? Fine. So the area is x squared plus x minus 3.75. And we know the area formula for a triangle is a half times by a times by b times by sine of the angle in between them, which is sine of 30. Okay. Right, I know sine 30 is a half, and we've also got another half there, so that's a quarter. So I'm going to times the other side by 4 to get rid of that quarter. So 15. And that's equal to what's left over, which are these two brackets, which is 4x squared. It's a difference of 2 squares, so it's 4x squared minus 1. The 4x squares can cancel on both sides, so 4x equals, move the 15 over to make, oh no, add 15 to minus 1 makes 14. So x is equal to 7 over 2, or 3.5. But it says find the size of the largest angle. Okay, well look, if x is 7.5, this side is the longest side, because it must be longer than that. And this angle here, therefore, must be the largest angle because it has to be opposite the largest side. But does that help us? Not really, does it? Because we need to find, we can't use the sine rule unless we have this side here. So we've got to find that side first. So we have to use the cosine rule to find that side. Let me just zoom in a bit so I can see the whole question. Okay, so if x is 7 over 2, then this is 8 and this is 6, which is a little slightly helpful, I guess. Nice numbers. So the cosine rule, add these two together, minus 2 lots of them times together, cosine of the angle. Right, fine. So let's find that then. So we do the square root of 8 squared plus 6 squared minus 2 times 8 times 6 times cosine 30. Make sure we're in degree mode, which we are. So 4. So x is equal to the square root of 4.106. Okay. So now we can use sine rule to find this angle here. So sine of capital B over the opposite side of 8 is equal to sine of the angle we know over the side length which is opposite it, which we also know. So to find B, let's just do it in one big motion here. I'm going to times this up by here by 8. And then we're going to take the inverse sine of that fraction. So inverse sine of the fraction of 8 times sine 30, close brackets, over the previous answer. Actually, I don't trust myself. Let's just put this in. Don't want to make a mistake. Equals 76.95. And that would definitely have to be the largest angle, because if I added 30 to it and then took it away from 180, then the other side is not as big. Fine. And we are done. Bosh. Okay, that was, I think, 37 minutes. Exactly on the nose. Which I'm a little not, I mean, I wanted to go under 30, but that was just not the paper to do it, was it? That paper was just insane, like 25 questions. And I felt like I was going really fast as well. So it just goes to show that some papers you need more time than others because there are literally more questions to do. Okay, right, I'm going to go back, I'm going to mark it, see if I got 100%. I'm back with the results. It's a different day. And I am a bit disappointed because I scored 98 out of 100. I made 2 errors, both on the last questions. And let's find out where those errors are so I can correct them. So all of the paper up until the last 2 questions I've marked and I've got all correct. Maybe, I mean, this paper went on for so long, I think perhaps I've kind of run out of steam and got a bit tired towards the end. So I dropped 2 marks at the end, 1 on each question, mainly because I didn't fully understand what the question was asking me. So this question here, did all the work incorrect and found X, so that was good. So that got me 4 out of the 5 marks. But then it was the any restrictions on X, which I sort of underestimated, because I just assumed that we need to make sure that there was no negative under the square root, because that would lead to a math error and it wouldn't work. But in fact, we needed to think about this stipulation as well, the fact that X needs to be greater than 0. So I needed to read that part of the question, which I didn't. Because if X is greater than 0, then this is still correct, obviously, because we do need to make sure that this under the square root is not 0. But if X is greater than 0, then it means that this minus 2 plus the square root of n plus 1 must be greater than 0, because that's what X is equal to. So rearranging, we get n plus 1 needs to be greater than 2. Squaring gives us n plus 1 needs to be greater than 4. And then subtracting 1 gives us n needs to be greater than 3. So therefore, both of these two things need to happen. N does need to be obviously greater than or equal to minus 1, but moreover, n needs to be greater than 3, which is sort of takes more importance because it includes this anyway. So the answer was n needs to be greater than 3. So that was the answer, and that's cost me a mark. Gutted. Okay, on to the next one. Now, this one I'm even more gutted about. Well, less so actually, because I feel like it's a bit of an unfair question. So we did all this work and we found out this angle. We got this angle and we got it right. It was equal to this. But this we are supposed to assume is actually obtuse, this angle here at B. Which I don't think is, I mean, perhaps now looking at it you can see that it is obtuse, but it does say the diagram's not drawn accurately, so it didn't really cross my mind that that was an obtuse angle. And normally for a question like that they should state that it is obtuse, but they didn't. But you are meant to assume, and in fact I've got here from the examiner's report that students often worked out the acute angle of BC, like I did, but did not subtract from 180 to work out the obtuse angle, which was made clear on the diagram. I think that's a stretch that was made clear on the diagram, but whatever. So, I'm not bitter, of course not. So, how do we do this then? Well, we should know that when using the sine rule, there are two possible angles. Your calculator will always give you the acute angle, but there is also an obtuse angle which will work, and you find the obtuse angle by doing 180 minus the acute angle. So I should have done 180 minus 76.95, and I should have got this as the correct answer. Though again, I'm really bitter about that because I think they should have stated that it was obtuse rather than us just being able to see that it's obtuse. Perhaps we can see that that is an obtuse angle, but again, normally they state that it is obtuse, but they didn't this time. You're meant to just look at the diagram and assume it is. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. Bye for now.